What if I told you you could lose 30 pounds of body fat without killing yourself and starving yourself of hunger? I'm IFBB Pro Josh Bridgman, and I've been a competitive bodybuilder for the best part of 10 years. I've taken myself through 30 and 40 pound weight transformations every single year. So trust me when I say this, I know exactly how to do it. But more importantly, I've done this for thousands of people all across the world, across my one-to-one coaching company and my coaches that we do this for. We arm these guys and girls across the globe, across all different types of professions with the tips and tricks that they need in order to sustain fat loss and then keep it off as well. So if this sounds like you, keep watching, and I promise you that by the end of this video, you will understand all of the steps necessary to lose 30 pounds of body fat for yourself. Number one is going to be understanding fat loss. Now, fat loss has to come from sustaining a calorie deficit. The 2017 Scientific Journal of Obesity says that sustaining a calorie deficit is the most effective thing for a fat loss. Who would have thought? Ultimately, this is calories in versus calories out. So what I want you to do is really start to grab a hold of the amount of calories that you are ingesting and create yourself a calorie deficit. The key point here is not to crash diet. It's not to try and lose kilos and kilos a week. It's about making small, sustainable changes over a long period of time. Your body's going to adapt to these changes, and it's going to benefit from making these changes smaller rather than hitting yourself with a hammer. Would much rather chisel this deficit into a sustainable place. The next section is going to be all about eating more while eating less. That sounds very, very counterintuitive, but it's going to be very simple when I break it down for you. What I want you to focus on is high volume foods. By that, I mean foods that are bigger in weight, but less in calories. And all you can do is you can Google volume of food index. It's going to show you what keeps you satiated for longer and comes with higher volume. But just so you can leave this video with a few tangible tips, think about leafy greens, think about potatoes, think about oats, think about things that digest a little bit slower, but also just take up a lot of room in terms of actual volume. You might have heard of the things like zucchini noodles or cauliflower rice. All of these things will bulk out your meals, keeping you fuller for longer and allowing you not to starve yourself while still getting some good nutrition in. Research from the Appetite Journal in 2016 shows that having a higher fiber diet satiates you for a little bit longer as well. So making sure that you're bulking out with vegetables or bulking out with high fiber foods is also going to help you keep you fuller for longer. Tip 2 is going to be to double down on the protein. Anywhere from 1.6 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram is going to be right where you need to sit. So if you're 100 kilos, you could be upwards of 220 grams of protein. We know that protein is the most satiating macronutrient that we have. It keeps you fuller for longer, but of course it is also the building blocks and the foundations of muscle protein synthesis and the building of new tissue. A 2020 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that high protein diets help control hunger over a period of 24 hours, let alone the weeks, let alone the months that you could be doing this. I promise you, if you have a little bit higher protein, you will remain fuller for longer. This next section is going to be all about the few tips that you can do to stave off hunger. And now these are the tips that I give all of my one-to-one clients who are about to go through a big fat loss phase. And we sometimes use these as like periodic things to put in. Don't use them all at once, bring them in one at a time as hunger levels start to rise. Number one is going to be to hydrate strategically. Dehydration can actually lead to bigger cravings. Lower levels of salt can lead to bigger cravings because your body needs salt. So what I want you to do is not only think about hydration in terms of drinking water, but also making sure you're salting your foods enough and having enough potassium. If you have the correct amount of electrolyte balance along with water was inside your body, I promise you, your hunger levels are going to be much more stable and your cravings are going to be in the bin, which is going to be a good thing for a diet. The next thing is going to be intermittent fasting. A lot of people don't wake up as hungry as others. So what I want you to do is to push that meal forward and start to backload some of your food if you get hungry in the night. If you're someone who does get hungry in the morning, it's not a big deal. But we know if we shorten the window that you're allowed to eat, all in all, you're probably going to lead this to being able to eat less calories over that same amount of period. Research in Cell Metabolism in 2015 supports intermittent fasting for improving appetite regulation and there in turn, fat loss. My final tip is going to be to meal prep. It seems simple, but a lot of people don't think to do it. I do it all the time now. When I throw in a piece of chicken, I throw in 2 pieces of chicken or 3 pieces of chicken. When I cook rice, I do 3 portions of rice. This allows you to not wander off plan. And when you are super, super hungry and you want something right now, you already have your meal made. This is one of the biggest things that we find for busy people, to stay off Uber Eats or Deliveroo and to be able to reach for a good nutritious food meal that they've got in their fridge already, that they've already prepared. So try and meal prep in advance. My next tip is going to be keep moving, burn more calories. You guys have all heard about steps and all these types of things, and that is non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is basically anything that isn't exercise. When you're burning calories, we can bring that up a little bit. So that goes for walking, moving, sitting, taking the stairs, taking the lifts. What I want you to do is to really focus on trying to push towards 10,000 steps a day. 10,000 steps a day is not a magical number. I just think if you push towards 10,000 a day, you're having a dramatic increase in your NEAT, a dramatic increase in the calories burned, and therefore you're setting yourself up for success in order for you to lose body fat quicker and sustain that fat loss longer. We also know that walking after meals can help regulate blood pressure, can help regulate blood glucose, and keep your cravings a little bit more stable. I also want you to strength train. Strength training is paramount to fat loss, but also more importantly, specifically fat loss. Losing weight is easy. Losing body fat is a little bit more complicated because you need to be training for that. Strength training is sending a stimulus to your muscles that tells them we need to stick around. So what you do need to do on a deficit, the last thing you want to do is get weaker. So I want you to focus on keeping your strength, keeping 2 to 4 training sessions in per week, an upper and a lower session, and making sure that you're exercising that body and the muscles that you're trying to train to like a 7 or an 8 out of 10 towards failure as possible. So if 10 was you cannot move that bar anymore, I want you above a 7 at all times. You combine the steps, you combine walking upstairs, you combine picking up the shopping bags and doing them in one trip, you combine them with training, I promise you your fat loss journey is going to be considerably easier. My final point here, guys, is going to be mindset. It's going to be how much does your why matter? Where does it sit on this scale? And whatever you can do to tip that scale in further of why, you should do. So that might mean you need to celebrate non-scale victories like improved energy, a weight size down on your jeans. Maybe your dress fits you a little bit better. Maybe you've worn a top or a shirt or a pair of jeans that you haven't worn in years. Or maybe you're getting stronger in the gym. The key point is to stay consistent and to stay focused on those small goals that are tangible for you to build forward in. So if you combine those 5 tips, I promise you, you're gonna be well on your way to losing 30 pounds of body fat. If you found these tips useful, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We've got so many more videos coming like this. We also have so many videos like this already. But more importantly, if you feel like you can't quite connect the dots or you've tried these things before, I want you to hit the first link in the description box and you're gonna book onto a free call with me and my team where we can run you a full free diagnostic on what you're doing right now and what you could do to improve your life. And if by that, it sounds like you like the offer that we have as well, maybe we can look towards coaching, but that is not part of the call. That is just like an add-on if you wanted it. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, comment down below, drop a like. We enjoyed being here. We'll see you soon.